What's up, you guys? I hope all is well with y'all today. So this video, y'all, is going to be about spiritual gifts. Because I got a question in that other video about this, and I actually had this on my list of videos to talk about, because us as chosen ones, a lot of times we feel like we don't know what our calling is. We don't know where to start. So I had a question that says, how do you know the calling God has for you? He says, I pray and read every day as much as I can, but I don't know my passions or talents. I want to be able to lead people to Christ and save souls, but I don't know what my purpose or gifts are. That's actually what your gift is. A lot of times your gift is already instilled in you since you were young. And I mentioned this in the other video that's like an hour and something long, but this one is specific to this. That touched on a little bit more stuff. And a lot of times your gifts are instilled within you from when you were young. God gives all of us a gift. And for us as the chosen ones, we have a different type of gift. So we might not be, talented with our hands. Sometimes you might be talented with your hands, but he still has called you to do something with your voice. 9 times out of 10, when you're in this lane, when you're a chosen one, you're called to work for the kingdom of God. You're not called to work regular jobs. He wants you to work specifically for him. So you might work in a physical church. Maybe you, like now we're in this day and age of social media, he might be calling you to start your own YouTube platform, your own social media platform, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Patreon, whatever it is, so you can draw an audience that you're going to be ministering over, that you're going to be a shepherd over a group of people. So, we're here to use our voice. A lot of times we are the truth tellers. And this is why we also were casted out as the scapegoats, the black sheep, because God pulled us out to set us apart, to be his servants, to work for him, to do his will through our ministry. So no, you're not called to do regular things. Like, you might be an artist, you might can paint really well, you might can, or you might not. Like this person said, I don't know what my passions or talents are. And I felt the same way. I'm like, first, when I was younger, I was into hair a lot, which is like why I got this, because I really was into hair. And, I know how to do many things. I know how to do nails. I know how to do hair. I ain't A1 with the hair, but I can do stuff. And with anything that you do, if you keep at it, you grow stronger in it. Even like now, like I'm constantly, every day, I just work on myself within this ministry with being a spiritual teacher. Now I'm realizing I'm going to be a Bible study teacher, a Bible teacher, teach the word, translate the word. So as I have been in my spiritual journey, in my isolation season, God has led me on what to do. I didn't know at first, like I kind of mentioned in the last video, but it was through getting me in isolation that he was able to give me more direction. And as I started to get in the word, and I got to I pretty much see what they're doing in the Bible. Like, everybody is either well, let's just go ahead and go over what the gifts are. So, first of all, a spiritual gift is it's a God-given skill. It's a God-given ability distributed to individuals by the Holy Spirit, which allows him or her to work through their lives to help the church execute its mission on earth. It says right here, it's given to individual Christians, but it's not just given to Christians. Y'all know how I feel about the Christian's word. It's children of God, ultimately, because it's not just the Christian religion that has these type of people in position. In the Islamic community and all of that, there's still people that God chose out of these different denominations to serve and do his will, which is ultimately to bring people closer to God and to make them more like Christ. So that's ultimately what the purpose of the spiritual gifts are, is to teach the word of God, to bring people closer to God, and to help free people from sins and, anything that is not of God. Is to help you become more whole, more complete, and to walk in faith like Jesus did, to grow closer to God the Father. So let's see. So I'm gonna go over what the spiritual gifts are, like the main gifts, and then the breakdown of what these different titles. So the spiritual gift titles, so to say, and then the details of the titles. So you have prophecy. Prophecy is just simply you being a messenger of God. Like I was telling you in them last videos, you got all the prophets in the Bible and they come to give a word of God. People on YouTube now, like there's a lot of prophets up here now that they translate, give a word of God to keep his people fed, to keep his people having hope. So a lot of times prophetic words, they 9 times out of 10 are just to give you hope, things that you've been praying about, things that you have questions about. In prayer time, you've been asking this, and now he uses a prophet to come up here and deliver and relay the message. We're like, because I have a lot of these, so it seems, and that's one thing about it that you got to realize. Sometimes when you're not getting material gifts, because at first I was like, where are my materialistic gifts? I want materialistic gifts, but now that I've been studying this, I'm like, oh, so you giving me spiritual gifts as I keep growing in this, and like stuff that just come out of nowhere. I'm like, how do I know this? But it's the downloads that God has given me because he has planted spiritual seeds in me. And now just to water those seeds, I have to just keep making sure I keep praying, keep fasting, keep reading the word, keep on working at it so it can keep growing. But basically, so prophecy is to speak forth the message of God to his people. So whatever God say, like I told y'all in that other video, how he was telling them, go tell them this. Sometimes people don't want to see the prophet coming. Like me, some of the words I got to say, sometimes you ain't ready for that word. Because a lot of times people think that it's only supposed to be good words of God. Even like Ahab hated to see Elijah coming because he know, oh, here you come. What are you about to come say to me now? Because a lot of times Elijah was coming to tell Ahab how he was getting ready to get in trouble for that wicked that he was doing. That was the message that God wanted Elijah to relate to him. So it's not always just good words, but God will also have you to relay words to give people hope. Give his people hope. Keep his people, holding on, because people be at their wits end, ready to risk it all, ready to go back to stuff that they ain't supposed to go back to, ready to take their own life. So he'll have you drop a word to keep them holding on, because he see everything that's going on. He's not missing a beat. He sees every single thing. So he'll use the prophets to do that. When you're going through stuff, just hold on. I know the misery is painful, but just hold on. Hold on. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but you just got to get through the tunnel. Just hold on. Hold on. Cry and hold on. I know you're going to cry. Like, you're going to cry. You're going to get upset. You're going to get mad. It's okay. Just hold on still. Do what you're supposed to do, but cry and all, but keep going. Keep going. Do not give up. That's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy. Don't let that happen. You cannot let that happen. So the other gift is teaching. So as a teacher, you're supposed to instruct others in the Bible in a logical, systematic way so as to communicate pertinent information for true understanding and growth. That's my lane. I've always loved to teach. And like I said in the other video, this is something I've been doing. I've always wanted to teach since I was a little girl. I've always teach. My mom bought me a chalkboard. I used to write on that chalkboard every day. Before I even had the chalkboard, I used to just come home, take a piece of paper, and write on my wall. Like literally, I would tape a piece of paper up to the wall, and then everything. I used to love school. Like I loved school. And when I would come home, anything we learned at school that day, I would come home and teach it to my imaginary class, because my brother, he didn't want to play with me and stuff, of course. Because he hated school. And he like, why she always want to come home and play school? He's what he said to my mom, like, why she always want to come home and play school? Don't nobody want to play school. We just got out of school. Like, but I want to play school. So I love to teach. I love teaching my children. I love doing homework with my baby. I love all of that. Like I can't wait for her science fair projects. I love doing the projects. I just love everything about teaching, because I like to teach. I like to give game, especially for me, being as though a lot of stuff I had to learn on my own. So I don't want people to have to go through the struggles. I don't want people to have to start from nothing and have nobody to look up to. Like on this whole journey, it's just been me. As I've been trying to grow to certain heights, within my career and in business more so, because I really, I went to school for business. I want to be a business owner, a successful business owner that has longevity. And I always had to figure out everything by myself. It was me always going into isolation and doing things that my peers weren't doing. So I always was just sitting online, looking at videos, like I still do, look at business videos, order the business books, order the finance books. Now God has led me in this. So now it's like I'm ordering all the books I need to order so that I can learn this and study, because you got to study to show yourself approved. You got to study and retain the knowledge. And then God will give you, with all of these gifts, God going to have you to express it in your own way. You don't have to be something that you're not. You be you. God chose you. And when he chose you, he knew who you were. He knew who you were. Some things about you, yes, he's going to be working on changing, just like he doing me. It's certain things that he's going to change, but he called you for a reason to that lane because of who you are. Like me always being bold, blunt, having no, I don't take no mess, all of that. It's for a reason, because me being real and raw and authentic, he know that's for a reason, because people need that. He know there's a group of people that need that. And this is why you have to be yourself when you're on this journey. If he's calling you, 9 times out of 10, he's calling you guys to get on YouTube, get on Facebook, get on these platforms, or if you scared, because you can't, it don't matter if you're scared. You still got to do it anyway. You're going to start off, you're going to be stuttering. I stutter all the time. I always stutter. You're going to mess up, and it's okay. You, like, as time go on, like, you never even think about day one on your job. You didn't know nothing when you went to that job. You ain't know nothing. You messed up, made several mistakes. But as time went on, repetition is key. You started learning more. You learn the tricks to the trade, and then you be like, it became just repetitive for you, in a sense where, you can do this in your sleep. And that's how this is going to become. You're going to start off as a baby in this. And some of y'all already, we'll get to that in a minute. But some of y'all have already been doing this stuff, like, depending on which lane he called you to do. So let's just go to the next one right quick, and then I'll talk again. So the next one is apostle. So we got prophecy, teaching, apostle. Apostle is one sent on a mission to preach the gospel, providing leadership over church bodies and maintaining authority over spiritual matters pertaining to the church. So you're out here to spread the gospel. Maybe you grew up in the church, so you already know you already know this. I ain't know none of this stuff, so I can't be. I guess in a sense I do kind of spread the gospel a little bit, because now that I'm teaching it, I'm learning it. As I'm learning it, I'm sharing it with y'all. We learning together. If you know it and I don't know it, and I'm talking about it and I'm getting something wrong, y'all might correct me in the comments, or y'all might add to it, or y'all might be learning from what I'm saying because you didn't know it, or maybe you didn't understand it to the full context that I'm now explaining it, because God is teaching me, and we learning together. But overall, your job is to spread the gospel. So you might already know a lot of Bible verses. You might already, know the Bible. So now you can go ahead and spread the gospel. When you see people doing things right or wrong, or when you see unbelievers, you can try to, that's like evangelism. So we'll get there in a minute. And I ain't even write that on here. But since we're talking about it right now, evangelism is basically, you're converting people from non-believers to believers. You go out, you spreading the word, you going door to door, and or go out. I know I see them at the airports. They be up there, trying to get people in, trying to, I wouldn't say like initiate, recruits. They're kind of like recruiting you, come to our church, come to our, see what we talking about here, they might give them a word, and maybe because a lot of times, they kind of like some of these overlap. So you might do a lot of it. Like a lot of them, they might give you, they don't know you from nowhere, but they tell you something about your life. And through them giving you like that prophecy, they giving you a word. They might also, start to evangelize to you, start to tell you what God has in store for you. And they might try to get you on, pass out this, and here, come over to our church, see what we're talking about. So you might be called to do one of these things. A pastor, you might be called to be a pastor. A pastor is responsible for spiritually caring for, protecting, guiding, and feeding a group of believers entrusted to one's care. So Yes, that's my favorite word, believers. I don't really like Christian and none of that. It's believers. You're a believer. You're not, it's not about being in some cult. The only cult you should be in is being a believer and a child of God. That's it. All that extra stuff, y'all know how I feel about that. But the pastors, and as the pastors, their job is to do a lot of this stuff. They teach too. They teach the word. Then they do worship. They have to study the word too, which is what teachers also have to do. But teachers, I guess, will go more in depth of the word. There's people who just translate the word, like the scribes would do. For people who don't understand, like I do a lot of times. This is why in my Bible study videos they be long, because we go in depth about what it is, what these words mean, because people will take a scripture and think it means something when really it means something else, because they don't understand what these words mean and then what's being said before this scripture and after this scripture, to know the context that this scripture is saying right now. Because like we know now, different words mean different things. It has different meanings. So one word can have different meanings. Like we often see. And so the next one is exhortation. So if this is your gift, if you have the spirit of exhortation, if you have the gift of exhortation, it's to come alongside someone, it's to come alongside of someone with words of encouragement, comfort, consolation, and counsel to help them be all God wants them to be. So you're like, it's kind of like coaching, like coaching a little bit. You walking them through it. That's kind of like, I kind of do that too. Through my experience, I tell y'all, what I went through, what's helped me, what hasn't helped me. And, I'm coaching y'all through it too, giving y'all some words of wisdom, might do some, being real with it. I'm not just only giving you sweet talk. I'm telling you the real, what you really need to really, make changes and to grow closer, and what you need to do based on what I've had to do. So if you find yourself being in a position where like people always come to you for advice, that's why your gifts, you might not know what you're called here to do because you don't understand what you've already been doing. A lot of us are healers. This is why we attract broken people. People come to us for advice all the time. So maybe you're good at giving advice. Maybe you're called to be a counselor, a spiritual type of a therapist, a spiritual type of a counselor, where you give them wise counsel based off biblical text, because ultimately it's all revolving the kingdom of God, the kingdom of light, the kingdom of heaven, and using his word. You can't do it without his word. So yeah, you can, be a therapist. And like I thought I was going to be doing psychology because I'm really into studying human behavior. And I still like that. But now that I know that a lot of it is a spiritual manner that's going on behind these psychological terms, God's called me into theology, to study theology versus psychology, even though I still study psychology too. And I got my book is on the way, so I'm so excited. And because I want to order that book so that I can relate it to the spirits too, to see this disorder, what is the spiritual meaning behind this disorder, which ultimately it just be good and bad spirits that's on you. Spirits of rejection, spirits of abandonment. These are different spirits. And it's like, until you revoke that spirit up off you, these are the things that's going to continue to happen. And also, like the psychological part of it is because your brain it's a chemical imbalance. So I don't need to go further into that right now, but it's chemical imbalances within us because of the spirits that's on us. And it takes a long time to try to like get some of this off of you. And a lot of times it does. You have to work at it consistently. So those are the main ones: prophecy, teaching, apostleship, being a pastor, exhortation, and evangelism. So you're called to be one of those 6 things. And the way that it might present is different. Everybody has a ministry. Some of the situations that you've been through, whether you've been through different types of abuse, like I talked to y'all about everything, all types of abuse, narcissistic abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. You might have went through some of these things. And then you might be called to focus on helping other people who went through that, because a lot of people have went through all those types of abuses, whether you're a domestic violence survivor, all of that. Like I talk to you a lot about a lot of stuff because I've been through all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I speak about it and teach you, what's working for me, what's not working for me, what I still have to work on with that, to let y'all know you're not in it alone. You're not the only one who went through it, but it's purpose in your pain. Take that pain and turn it into purpose. Turn it into something good. What the devil meant for evil for you, God will always use it as good. So you might be able to tell people how you overcame a certain addiction, how you whatever you once used to struggle with. This is why you don't want to be embarrassed about who you are and what you've been through, because it's that experience that you're going to be able to now coach somebody else how to get through. Now everybody who struggles with those type of issues will come to you, because you're going to be able to deliver them from them spirits. Just like in my celibacy video, I told y'all in that video, what made me, my experience that led me to want to become celibate. And through that journey, what is it doing for me now? That led me to being celibate. And now that I'm celibate, what being celibate has led me, how it has led me into my relationship with God, what it has allowed for me, what doors it has opened for me. So through my experiences, I now give y'all advice off of that. And you take it or leave it, but hopefully you take it and you apply it to your life. You ask God if this is something that you too need to implement. Anything you get from anybody, no matter what their title is, I don't care if they're the president of the United States, you always take it back to God. You take it back to God and see what he wants you to do with it, because he's always going to give you a confirmation. And even with me going over these things, you still take it to God to see what you're supposed to do. But a lot of this stuff was already instilled in you as a child. You've been seeing dreams and having visions, and God will maybe give you the platform to do prophetic dreams. Through your dream, he might be calling you to relay a message through that dream. And now you need to get on YouTube and start making your videos about this. There's no set way you have to look. You don't have to be ashamed because of how you look, your weight, your hair, none of that. People ain't really on. When you got something vital that they need, they're not caring about how you look. Even if they do, who cares? We all have a bad day. No matter how good you think you look, no matter how ugly you think you look, it don't matter. When you have something true to bring to the table, and as surely as God has gifted you with one of these gifts, you got something valuable to bring to the table. So you need to bring it and stop being scared. Don't let that fear hold you back. Like I say, do it scared and all. Do it scared and all. A lot of people scared to show their face on the camera. At one point too, I didn't want to be up here either. I stutter all the time like Moses. You got to understand, these people in the book had issues too. Moses was doing this, and Moses was like, you choosing me? A lot of times we you choosing me? Why would you choose me? I can't even get 2 sentences out without stuttering, without starting over. Moses had a speech impediment. He you want me to lead these people? How am I going to do this? God said, I told you you're going to do it. He said, no, get my brother to do it. Get Aaron to do it. No, I told you. You and Aaron is going to do it. I'm going to give you the word. That way you can translate it to Aaron, and he'll be able to tell it to my people. But y'all going to work together. But Aaron still got to go through you, Moses. So I'm speaking directly to you, and then you translate to him, and he translates to the Israelites, and you're still the one that's ultimately leading my pack. And you're the one that's going to go to Pharaoh, not Aaron. You're going to go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. And when he say, who said to do this? I am that I am. I'm the one. He gonna know who told you to come and say this. So when I read that, that's why I say I love reading the Bible, and why I always recommend y'all to read it, because the word gives you comfort. People, listen to the prophetic words. I too started off like that, listening to the words, and it made me feel good. But on the days when people don't show up, I don't jump around. When I find somebody I like, that's who I will watch. I'm not watching all prophetic words out here, because you become too consumed in it, and then it starts being conflicting messages, because every prophet that's up here on YouTube and out here in the world aren't God prophets. So you don't know, they might be conflicting with this other one saying, and you're like, hold up. And then a lot of times, if you're hearing multiple people saying the same things, that's how you know that they're truly in alignment with what God is saying. But you always got to take everything with a grain of salt, because just like all the Baal prophets going to say the same thing, all godly prophets going to say the same thing. So if you got a bunch of people talking a bunch of nonsense, that don't necessarily mean that it's from God and that it's the truth. So that's when discernment comes into play. And once again, that's a skill that God gives you, which is what we get ready to talk about now with other spiritual gifts. So these are other gifts that God gives you. This is like, once you're on your journey, like I've told y'all in the last video, like he gives you different gifts, different keys to, he's like, the stuff that's locked up in the tree of life, he's going to give you the key to open that door to get access to these things and for it to get heightened so that you know how to move around out here. He's equipping you. You're his troops. You're his team. So of course he wants to give his troops everything they need to fight the battles and to lead his people the correct way. So if you just show that you're trustworthy, you have faith, you stay down till you come up, you stay down through the process, no matter what it looks like, surely you will have all of these things and you will be able to implement all of these things. And all of these things will lead you to a greater life spiritually, financially, mentally. It's going to help you with your healing from that pain that was caused onto you. It's going to help you with that. Are you still going to have times where you feel sad about things that people have done? Or, it's not to say that it completely wipes away those feelings, but you give people more grace, you have more understanding, and it makes you actually open your eyes to what caused them to be demonic. It just gives you a different perspective. It creates open-mindedness for you. So let's go over these other ones. So these are the other spiritual gifts. So wisdom. I know we always talk about that good wisdom. To apply knowledge to life in such a way as to make spiritual truths quite relevant and practical in proper decision-making in daily life situations. So wisdom is when you apply the knowledge, the truth that you have learned. So anything you've been through in life, because many people have been through stuff, but they haven't learned them lessons from it, or they haven't learned the skills that they needed to learn from those lessons to know when to apply it when the next time they're faced with certain situations. So when you don't apply the knowledge you've learned, that's what makes you foolish. You want to apply the knowledge that you have learned, apply your experiences. That's what gives you wisdom. You don't want to do the same things, keep making the same mistakes, and then wondering why you keep starting back over. Why you keep getting in these same type of dead-end relationships. Why you keep settling for less. You want to take what you learned from the last relationship. This is why you pay attention. You have to have self-awareness. You have to do self-reflection. This is the part of emotional intelligence. We're going to do a whole nother video about emotional intelligence because it's different components to emotional intelligence. So we'll talk about that later. But that's what wisdom is. Applying the knowledge to, it's no good to know something and then you know something and you don't use your knowledge when at the appropriate times. Like that doesn't make no sense. So the next one is faith. Our favorite, the number one thing that actually God cares about, because the more faith you have, all these other things easily flow into you. You get faith first. Everything else is like, it opens the door to everything. You're going to open up the door to heaven and just be like, like you just have the faith first. So faith is to be firmly persuaded of God's power and promises to accomplish his will and purpose, and to display such a confidence in him and his word that circumstances and obstacles do not shake that conviction. So you so grounded into what you know God's will is for you. You know his promises. You know his likeness. You know how he moves. You know he's a way maker. You know he's going to come through. So no matter what seed of doubt that the enemy try to plant in you, you're going to be like, get out of here. Get thee behind me, Satan. Get behind me. Bye. Because I already know that my Father, the faith that I have in my Father, the faith that I have in God's powers and promises to accomplish his will for my life and his purpose, I know that I can have confidence in him. I know that I can confide in him. I know that I can run to God when I can't run to nobody else. I know I can run to God and he's going to help me. And nothing can shake that. Nothing that can, even if you face a no today, that's not the end of the world for you. You're not going to go cry and melt up in a corner, and just fall into depression because you got a no when you was hoping to get a yes, or because you don't understand that rejection is God's protection and he's just trying to detour you. Like I said a couple months ago in them videos back then about rejection is God's protection. That's how he has to shut doors to open new ones, or else you're going to be going through that door. No, that door needs to be shut so you can get detoured to the way you're supposed to go. It's just redirection. So when you face these no's in life for things that you really want to be a yes, God is protecting you. He got something better for you. Something better. Because he knows what's ahead. So it's just, instead of acting like it's rejection, just act like it's a redirection. That no is to say, go this way. No to that way, yes to going this way. Discernment. So discernment so this is another spiritual gift. These that I'm listing off are different gifts that within these titles, he will give you these gifts. And you'll also be able to, prophesy, test, teach, evangelize, giving people tips on this stuff too. Give counseling on all of these type of subjects. So these are like things that you're going to be doing within your lane. This is what you're going to be doing, So discernment, to clearly distinguish truth from error by judging whether the behavior or teaching is from God, Satan, human error, or human power. And that's true. Your discernment, able to make good judgment, able to discern between good and evil, be able to tell what's of God, what's not. And with this, some things can be tricky because a lot of people will be like, well, that's not godly. That's because they think God is just so, oh, it's just sweet. Oh, everything is sweet. So if they're not just acting and talking to you like this, and they're not just smiling all the time, and they're not just talking to you with this delicacy, and they're not just, letting everything slide, then that means you're not of God, because your God would not hold me accountable like this, because my sins have already been forgiven, and God will not make me have to reap what I sow, because my sins have already been forgiven through Jesus Christ. So how dare you say that I have to reap what I sow because of what I did last week and what I did yesterday? Like, they don't get to saying all this stuff. Like, you can't, with this having discernment thing, is because you got to understand too that God ain't calling everybody to do the exact same thing in the exact same way. You may all be, he may call you all into prophecy, but the topics he called you to prophesy about is not going to be the topics that he called this person to prophesy about. So, you can't be dismayed when people get the rambling on, talking about you a false prophet and this is a false teaching and all of this, and people going to have their own opinions, and that's okay. And sometimes maybe they might be right about something. And then you do your fact check. And one thing about it, God is always going to give you a confirmation, or if you're right or if you're wrong. He's going to lead you to the truth every single time. I promise you, he's going to always give you a confirmation on something. When you think you should do something, if you're not sure if I should talk about this, I guarantee you that day or the next day or within the next couple of days, a sign will come about, and you're going to be like, okay, I was supposed to talk about that. This happens for me all the time, because sometimes I still have that little doubt. Should I say this? Should I take that out the video? But then he always, like, it'd be the next day or something, and I'll come across, or the same day, and I'll come across something, and it was like, oh, I'm glad I did go ahead and leave it in the video. Like, y'all will be in the comments every time. It always happens. Even with this comment that I'm talking about, I was like, should I leave? Like, because the video that's y'all gonna see right before this one, this video right now, the comments I got from the comment that I'm talking about in this video and my video before this one that y'all gonna see, these two comments came from that other video I did about God, chosen ones answer the call in your life. And in my video yesterday that I was recording, that's actually uploading right now, so y'all see that one before this one. It's like an hour and 40 something minutes long. That video, I was giving a little bit of my, my story, a little bit about, how I was called and how I got led on like my spiritual journey and everything, and what the guy said, and even the other comment that I saw, because I just saw all of these comments today, when I went back to the video just to see if anybody commented, if I needed to answer questions or something like that. And then the other girl said, I need a part 2. So I was like, oh, I'm glad I did the video, the little hour-long video. I was like, I'm glad I did that, because at first I was like, I don't know, because I commented to the other person who that video was like based on, because I'll take certain comments and do a video on it, because I know that other people need these messages. that they might not see my response to the other person. So I was like, let me just do a whole video on it. And even her, she said, I need a part 2. I was like, oh, I said it's uploading right now. So I'm glad I had went on ahead and did the video about what the guy was saying, because that's going to help her and everybody else who needs help with that. So he's going to always give you confirmations. I'm telling you, I love when y'all comment stuff, because it just gives me the confirmations I need to either post the video I've already done, or that I'm glad I didn't edit something out of a video, or about something that I know that I need to do next or something. Even like recently, this one video that I want to do about our makeup as mammals, like as animals. We're really like animals. Humans, we're literally like animals. So the whole alpha, beta, sigma thing, you got that with the females and with the males. So I'm gonna do a video about that. And I actually recorded one a couple days ago, but during the video, it was like 40 minutes in, I just stopped. I was like, I don't even feel like doing this. I don't even know if this is necessary, because I know I gotta be working on this. And so I was like, is it even relevant for me to talk about this right now? So I was like, I just stopped it, and I was like, I'll pick up on it later. I'll do it at a later date, because I need to be reading and this, that, and that. So yesterday, somebody messaged me a recording talking about this alpha man and beta man and sigma man and all of this and all of that. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. I was just like, and how did this person know? They didn't know that I just was talking about this during a video. So this is what I'm saying. Well, God will send you confirmation. So that was just confirmation that God do want me to do a video talking about that, to understand, because we don't understand the nature of one another. And this is why we can't coexist with one another. And we don't know who our type really is, because we don't know us. We don't know what we really need. We don't know our makeup. We don't know what breed we are for real. We don't understand us. So I'll save that, for that video. Which is, once again, when you're on your spiritual journey, when God is calling you to isolation, this is the type of stuff that he's going to reveal to you. You're going to get to know you. You might think you know yourself, but if you don't know your nature as a woman and the nature of a man and who you are called here to be, you don't know yourself. You still, seeking validation from the world. You still looking for acceptance from the world. If you're still in a position where you're looking for acceptance, God got some work that he's trying to do on you to reveal who you are. And the only acceptance you need to be seeking is from the Lord, because it don't matter what these naysayers say out in the comments or in the world. When I get that confirmation from God, that's what moved me now. That's what made me feel good, to know that he validates me. Only thing I care about is pleasing the Lord. Please the Lord, not these people. So if I'm making God happy, that's all I care. Because if God is for me, who can be against me? Who can be against me if the Father is for me? Okay? So anyway, let's finish reading this, because these videos always get long. So giving. To share what material resources you have with liberty and cheerfulness without thought of return. So being a giver. You see homeless people outside, even your family members, your friends, but more so like people you don't know, but you also help out people you know. But it's a giving to help out people you know. It's a bigger thing when you help out people you don't know. You give them your last $5, or you give them what you do have. You might not have much, but what you do have, you give them something. Even if you don't give them your absolute last, you give them a piece of your last, because you see that they're in need. Healings, to be used as a means through which God makes people whole, either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. You might have the gift of healing through your story, through your words of encouragement. Maybe through miracles that you might work on them. God will give you the gift of healing through using your voice, through maybe your body language, through giving them hugs. So many people out here need a hug. You just need a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Like, come here, give me a hug. Sometimes people just need a hug. They need some love. Give me a hug. Some people really ain't been hugged. What is he sending me? So, you might be used for that, and us chosen ones, most of the time, we want to save people. This is why we attract broken people, to heal them. They look at us for nurturing. We're like their heroes. They love the love you have to give them. Sometimes they don't receive it right away, but one thing about it, they always appreciate it in the end. When they realize that this person just they don't do it for me like you was doing it for me. But they ain't appreciate you. They didn't appreciate you, the men and women, because I deal with that with my friends, with that's why I don't ever care. Like, I don't care what people be saying, what they say. You can say whatever you want. You might call me mean, but they already know I ain't really mean. I just don't take no mess. So people will take being mean and not taking no mess. They try to make it be the same thing. It's not the same thing. And sometimes it might seem mean to you because you can't have your way with me. You can't just do what you want with me. So yeah, that might seem mean to you. But for me, it's protection. And sometimes it's just tough love. Like, I love you, but you can't do that to me, baby. You can't do that. Mm-mm. You know? But I still pray for you and I still want the best for you. You just gotta, stay over there. That's it. So another gift is the helping gift. So to render support or assistance to others in the body so as to free them up for ministry. So you're helping them in any way possible. Me getting on here, helping you guys with the word, with telling my story, with anything. Oh Lord. My first baby dad, he is such a narcissist. Like, he is such a narcissist. He wants to take credit for everything good about my daughter. He wants to take credit for all of that. Like, he is such a narcissist, but it's all cool. Even with these, it's cool. With these narcissistic people, you gotta learn to just love them too. Sometimes from a distance, but it's all they just full of themselves. So as having the gift of helping, we help one another out in the world, whether it's just you helping somebody with a bag, you see an older lady at the store, you see a single mama, you see a single dad, you see, they might not have no kids. They at the store, they drop something at the register, because I always do that. I don't know why I always be dropping stuff at the register, like my money, cards be falling out the wallet, and people will help me. People will see me with my kids. They be like, they want to help me. I'm at the airport on the shuttle. Another man, he get up to help me with my stroller, help me. Like, the gift of helping. And oftentimes we help a lot. We love to help. We love to be of service. This is why God chose us, because you love being of service. It makes you feel good. Like, I love making other people feel good. That's that people pleasing in me. I want to make people feel good. People deserve to feel good. I want to feel good. I want to make other people feel good. I ain't always just trying to be mean or nothing. I really would love to just be sweet all the time. It's just people take your kindness or weakness, and then it's like, must you try to? If people would stop doing that, they wouldn't have to see that other side. But sometimes the other side is needed. For, like God said, for it's the good and the evil that's needed to make the world what it is, to push you into where you're supposed to be. So hospitality, to warmly welcome people, even strangers, into one's home or church as a means of serving those in need of food or lodging. You never want to make somebody just feel unwelcome nowhere, even if they come to your house, if they are different than you, you don't want to really make them feel unwelcome. So 9 times out of 10, we have that ability to make people feel warm, welcome, loved, accepted, because we know how it feels to not be accepted. Because like I said, most of the times we're the black sheep, so we know how it feels to be ostracized, to never fit in nowhere, to look for acceptance. So that's why we end up, becoming empathic. We really, highly empathic to people, because we know what it's like to be in your shoes. We know what it's like to be that. So we don't want other people to feel how we have felt. We know how it feels to not have no love, or not be seen, not be heard. So we don't want to do that to others. So this is a trait that he gives us, and you exercise that. You're going to exercise this in your ministry, whatever your ministry is that he's calling you to do, whatever your topic is, whatever it is. Because some people's ministry is to, talk about relationships, to talk about finances, Just like the one guy, y'all have to follow Myron Golden. Oh my gosh, I just came across him. He's an older guy. He's like, he could be my dad. Yeah, because he said he have a son that's my age, 30. So he could be my dad. And he is like, I'm like, God, this is what I'm saying. God is so strategic about who he puts in your path. Like, I'm like, wow, this make me feel good because some of the stuff he say, and now I love how he just so cutthroat, and he ain't trying to tell people what they want to hear. Either he teaching people the real, and he once used to be a pastor. So he knows the fakeness, the fugaziness of the church. He knows that. So now that he does his own thing, he's not in a church no more. He's not in that pastoral position no more. He just do his own teaching, and he really like teach about wealth and finances using biblical principles. So I love it. I love it. I'm so glad God put him in my path. But he gonna give you game, and you gonna be just sitting there like, okay, right. He's assertive. It's like he just everything about him just displays just assertiveness. Like he know his stuff, like confidence, and and then the fact that he's you can learn from him. I love being a student. I'm gonna always be a student in life. Always. I'm gonna always be a student in life. Especially when you got something that I need to learn, and I know you know your stuff. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be quiet and listen, ask whatever questions I need to ask. So I'm just glad God put him in my path. So Myron Golden, y'all need to definitely go check him out because he does biblical teachings. He also talk about like money and finances, and all of us need to know, how to be better with our finances. And especially for me, because that's what I really care about. Because I don't want to keep making the same stupid decisions and stuff, and then I don't want to. I ain't crying. Once I get this next blessing, baby, we wanna have longevity, okay? So that's what hospitality is. I'm always saying, if I say all the time, I can't help it. I just always like, when I be editing my videos, I be like, girl, no, I don't know. Like y'all probably be saying that. Because I'm always saying, I cannot help it, y'all. I'm sorry. But that's what hospitality is. Being warm welcoming. Welcome people in. Don't make people feel like they don't fit. And a lot of times that's why people run away from the church, is because people don't feel like they're welcome there. People be looking down on them. And what it say in that scripture? We're going to talk about that in a different video about the 7 things that God hates. And one of them is haughty eyes. I think that's what it said, like haughty eyes. You looking down on people. You looking down on people. You thinking you better than people. Humble yourself. So leadership is another skill. So leadership, it means to stand before the people in such a way as to attend the direction of the body with such care and diligence so as to motivate others to get involved in the accomplishments of these goals. All of these titles like teaching, prophecy, apostleship, pastorship, exhortation, all of those are leadership titles. You're a leader of a group of people. And then you're going to be raising up other people to get up there. Like, so me encouraging you guys, in this point in time, you might not be, working in your field, but through my leadership, and you taking, my lessons and listening to what I'm saying, you're going to now become a leader. We want to raise up other leaders, even with our children. We want to raise up leaders. You don't want to raise up a bunch of followers, who don't never know how to make decisions on their own. And this is why oftentimes I am big on teaching y'all how to be independent in this alone, so you don't have to rely so much on prophetic words, on pastors or not. This is why I like to give y'all the tools that you need to become independent. So I can rate, like I'm teaching you to be your own leader and what skills you need to lead. You want to teach your kids how to be leaders. Don't be a bunch of followers. You do your own thing. Do your own thing in your own way. Do it how you do it. You don't have to try to do it how I do it, how the next person do it, how the person with millions of followers do it. You be your own person. Be authentically you. Show up as you, because there's people that's going to like you. There's going to be people that don't like you because they don't like how you do what you do. They might feel like you too loud, you're too soft-spoken, you're too stutter, you're too ghetto looking, you're too this, you're too that, whatever. You ain't for everybody, and you got to understand that, accept that, be okay with that, but still do you how you do you, boo. Period. So, you know, the ability. So, what's the next one? Martyrdom. So, to be martyrdom is to give over one's life to suffer or to be put to death for the cause of Christ. I can definitely say this is a skill that I've had because I gave up everything for you guys. Sound like somebody's mother. I gave up my whole life for you. I really did. So you better be grateful. It's like, nah. But for real, I did give up a lot of stuff. And I didn't understand what I was doing it for at first. But now I understand, like, it really wasn't about me. That's why I tell you a lot of times the stuff that you go through, it's not about you. It's about the people you're going to be serving. It's about the people you're going to be helping. It's about the people you're going to be raising up, whether that's your own kids or God's children. And when you get chosen one, when you called in these positions, you're going to be leading up God's children. You know, so that's why you had to go through that stuff. Me going on this wilderness season, my Job season, losing everything. Once again, that's so I can go through it, so that I can teach you guys that when you're going through it, how to get through it, how to have faith and keep walking through it. I went through it so that I can be the one to give y'all an example and to encourage y'all to lead y'all through it too. The next one is mercy. To be sensitive toward those who are suffering, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, so as to feel genuine sympathy with their misery, speaking words of compassion, but more so caring for them with deeds of love to help alleviate their distress. So that's what having mercy is. You know, you want to have mercy on people. You know, like one thing I realized, because this is the thing with like narcissism, a lot of times they went through a lot of bad stuff too, or life was hard for them too. So they feel like, well, life should be hard for you too. Well, why do you need some grace? And why do you need to get it easier? If I struggle, you need to struggle too. But us, we understand that I know how it felt. And I know how, that's why I tell y'all all the time, you gonna cry. I'm not telling you, no, don't cry. Take it like a man. Brace yourself like a man. Like, no, it's okay. You're going to be sad. You're going to cry. I understand. I understand how you feel. Trust me. However, you cry, get it out, allow those negative emotions to flow, you know, slide down the wall, beat up the world, rip up paper, you know, don't beat up the world. Don't beat up the world. I'm saying, like, beat up your pillows, whatever you got to do. Get your little frustrations out. Don't beat up nobody. Don't take your anger out on no flesh. You know, beat the pillow up. Okay. And then fluff it back up and lay down on it and apologize to it because it keep you with some good cushion at night. And I'm sorry for beating you up. But, you know, you're going to feel like that and it's okay. And the same way God give us mercy, give yourself mercy, give yourself grace, give other people, you know, have compassion for people. Have compassion for people because you know life is hard out here. You know, it don't mean to, because one thing about it is I don't like complainers and I'm not going to enable nobody. And you're not going to come to me with a bunch of complaints. After so many complaints, I am going to be like, look, I feel you. I understand what you're saying. And you have a valid reason to be hurt, to feel how you feel. But it's not okay to keep doing this or that or that. It's not okay to keep playing the victim. I talk about this a lot with the victim playing. You might be the victim. And it's okay to stay in a victim state for a period of time. When stuff first happened, you feel like you're the victim, and you are because that stuff happened to you. But if you carry that on as like a personality trait, and you try to make that your whole life story, and you try to get compassion from everybody and get sympathy so that people could give you attention and special treatments and stuff because of your victim story, that's when it becomes like, okay, now pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. But ultimately, you do have compassion for people. You do give them mercy. You know, just know when to, okay, now, I done gave you mercy this long. Now what you gonna do about it? All right, you didn't complain for the last 6 months, the last year, the last 2 years, all 15, 20, 35 years of your life, 45, 68, all of those years of your life. Now what you gonna do about it? You're going to keep talking about what your mama did to you, what your daddy did to you, what your ex did to you, what the teachers did to you, what this person, the coach, everybody, what everybody did to you. Okay, what you going to do? Because the best revenge is your success. The best revenge is everything that they talked about you about. Beat that. Overcome that. That's going to make them look, they're going to be looking at you like, you just keep on being resilient. People hate resilience. That's why the best thing you could do is never give up. That's how you make them mad. That's how you keep your foot on the enemy's neck, by never giving up. Because the enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy you. They want to kill off your dreams, destroy your peace, destroy your faith, keep you from achieving your fate, steal everything you worked hard for. You can't let that happen, which is why you got to stay going, keep going, even when you feel like crying, even when stuff get tough. Keep going. Keep going. So the next one is missionary, to be able to minister in another culture. So in your way, like me, I do it for my culture. Everybody might not be able to relate to it, but the people that is meant for, you got to understand that people that is meant for your stuff, they're going to see it. They're going to understand it. They're going to like the way you, you do your ministry. They're going to like the way you do it. And if it's not for them, they find other people that they actually like, that they can relate more to. That's why it's a need for every one of us. We all have different things that are different about us. And that's what makes us beautiful. Different bodies of Christ. We all serve a certain purpose in the body, which is all to help the children of God. You know, some of us, our target, like me, I tell you a lot of times that my target is like, the little ratchets, the little ghetto people, people I know, because I got some of that in me too. So like I'm talking to those people. They not to be shunned out because, oh, they from the hood, oh, they ghetto, or they was in the streets, or they was some strippers, or they was this. Nah, I don't shun them out. They need you more than anybody. They need deliverance more than anybody. So we're not going to shun them out. We're not going to do that. So no, I'm here to talk that gutter in a language that they understand. They understand slang. They understand that. So we want to that's why God calls different people from different walks of life to do this. People who they would be like, oh, you grew up like this, or you used to do that. So you shouldn't be doing this. But no, it's a reason that God called everybody, because that's the group of people that he wants you talking to. So the next one is service, to identify undertone tasks in God's work, however menial, and use available resources to get the job done. Be of service, use your resources, be resourceful, so that way all of that works together for your greater good, for your ministry. Tongues, to speak in a language not previously learned, so unbelievers can hear God's message in their own language, or the body be edified. And then the interpretation of tongues, to translate the message of someone who has spoken in tongues. So you might have the ability to speak in tongues or to interpret tongues. And then you can translate to your people, what is that meaning? Or maybe they too might have a gift of tongues where when you speak it, they can interpret it because they understand it, because y'all speak that same lingo. Just like that's like kind of like slang. Like people talk about slang, but if you don't understand slang, it's not meant for you to understand it. That's a different language. That's like people that talk Hispanic, what they call it, Latina talk, or what they speak? Spanish. They speak Spanish. The Chinese speak their language. Filipinos, they speak Tagalog or something like that. Africans might speak Yoruba, and then some might speak this. People have their different languages. And is it slang because you don't understand it? No, that's their language. That's their lingo. You just might not understand it. And this is why, to us as Black people, we have to create our own slang so everybody can't understand what we talk about, because it's not meant for everybody to understand what we talk about. We're designed to have our own lingo too. We've been whitewashed, so we have to conform to what their language is, but that's not even our original language. We've been stripped from what we originally spoke. So now that we have slang, it's only for people to understand it. Our people, the people that is meant to understand it. Even like the streets, they got their own code words for certain things. And it's only meant for them and the people that's receiving the messages from them to understand it. The last one is voluntary poverty. I don't like this one. But this is a gift that he will give you, to purposely live an impoverished lifestyle to serve and aid others with your material resources. So some people he might call to not have nothing, so that way in the things that you do have, give it all away. Give it all away. Because I kind of had voluntary poverty, selling up all my stuff. I ain't know, but it was for my cause. It was for my ministry. I didn't know at the time, because if I had known at the time, I wouldn't have gave up on my stuff. I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have did none of that if I knew what it was going to entail with me moving and selling all my stuff. If I knew I was going to go homeless, I probably would have never did that. Would have never did that. So that's pretty much it. Let me see. Yeah, so I just saw a couple questions that they had online about gifts. So, they said, what is the difference between spiritual gifts and natural talents? Natural talents are physical abilities to do special things. Like you good at basketball, you good at playing music, you good with your hands, so you can fix cars, you can do hair, you can do nails. Like natural talents, things that just in you. You've been, since a kid, you've been able to throw that ball real far. You've been able to do, you've been good at dancing. You've always been good at dancing, and you good at cheering. It's like those type of accolades. But the spiritual gifts are like we just went over. It's things that's within you, like using your voice to speak, your intellect, your wisdom. You've been able to share that. You've been able to study the Bible and translate the Bible for people and teach people the word. You're able to spiritually feed folks. It says, does every believer have a gift? Yes, every believer has at least one gift. And then those were all the gifts that we went over. And does everybody possess the same gift? No. Do some people possess a multitude of gifts? Yes. You just find your lane in it. Allow God to lead you. Don't go before him. Let him lead you to where you're supposed to be. So even though we went over all of this stuff, don't just go saying, I'm going to do this. Even if you might be guided towards one of these things we listed, but just take it back to God and say, hey, God, I'm feeling this on my spirit, like the one guy who we was talking about in the beginning, who he said, he wants to save souls. He wants to, what he say? I don't know. I still got it up here. He said, I don't think I sent it here. But he said he wants to save souls, basically. He wants to, so with that being said, he wants to, bring people closer to Christ. So you might be one of the people who want to go out and evangelize. You want to spread the gospel. Well, that's apostles. They spread the gospel. But to evangelize, you might, it's kind of overlap. You might spread the gospel, and through a word that you might say, it might really hit home at that time for them. And now they might be, interested in learning more. And now you could get them in. You could teach them certain things. So whatever it is that you're called to do, this is ultimately what you're supposed to do. As a chosen one, you were scapegoated, you were called out. You're different than society because you're in the kingdom here. You're not of the world. You're in the world, but you're not of the world. You are pulled out, set apart. God marked you to be special, to be different, because he wants you working for him. And yes, working for him, you're not going to start off. You're going to be like, man, this ain't bringing in the money I'm used to. But guess what, baby? Stay down, because as time goes on, he's going to give you everything you need to do, whether he wants you to write books, whether you're going to be opening up your own church, your own school, your own whatever he starts you off. He might start you off on a platform. He might start you off with doing in your local community. He might allow you to use your gift and go teach a sermon at somebody else's church or lead the youth at somebody's church. So it's different levels to it. And he's gonna place you where you're called to be, because you might love the children. You might be like me, like I love the children. I ultimately want to give back, lead the children. So many children have just been neglected, left to fend for themselves. I know how it was to be that child, that teenager, especially in teenage years. That's why I have a soft spot for teenagers always, because people like to be mean about the teenagers. Like I told y'all in one of the other videos, the lady was talking about the teenagers. She hates teenagers. I'm like, dang, like teenagers are human too. They going through different things in their bodies. Some of them been through a lot, and before they hit a teenager, still going through stuff as a teenager that they haven't been able to express to nobody because they don't trust nobody. And then they out here looking for love from the people in the streets. They're not being accepted. They can't express who they really are. So give them teenagers some grace. Like, they going through a whole bunch of puberty and their hormones all over the place. They body doing new stuff that it ain't used to do. So I have a special place in my heart for teenagers, which is why, in my future, I have something that I'm going to gear towards the teenagers, something I'm going to gear towards the little kids. But ultimately my goal is to give back to the youth. I'm about the youth. I'm about helping the youth, leading the youth into different paths, saving the children. That's my whole thing is kids' feelings matter. Save the children. We got to preserve our youth. The enemy is after our children. The enemy is after the youth because he knows if you attack the children while they're young, you ruin them for life. It's easier to mess with their mental, mess with their psychological state, and to just get them off their narrow path that God has for them. But one thing about it, God will always turn everything around. That's the way he does things. He likes to take messes and clean them up. It shows his glory. And all of this that we discussed is to get the glory back to God. So everything he does to you, for you, and through you is to get the glory back to him. It's all to show his sovereignty. Like we've been discussing in all these videos, it's to show God's sovereignty. He is the first and the last, the beginning and the end, Alpha, the Omega. And that's what's crazy. So when we talk about that video about them Alpha, Omega signs and stuff, that's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. But he is that. It's funny, he said he's the Alpha Omega. And when I was doing that video, I said, oh, I relate to the Omega female. But I also relate to the Sigma female. But Sigma has a lot of traits of them all. So that's why I realized I relate more to being a Sigma female. We're going to talk about that in that video. But I hope y'all got something out of this video, you guys. Take this, understand it, relate it to where you need to be. Understand that this is what you're called to do. This is a part of your calling. This is your calling. So you're experienced in something based on things you have been through, based on things that you have grown up on. A lot of these gifts were already in you since a child. So it's just time to bring it up in you. It's like you're an onion. It's like it was at the core. And you got to peel off these layers, peel off what people have placed on you, because a lot of times restrictions have been placed on you. You had something, but when you were younger, people seen that in you. They seen your ability to dream dreams, and they didn't tell you, oh, you crazy. Oh, I'm sending you to a mental hospital. Oh, you just crazy. Oh, you demonic. And then all the stuff that people would say about you, and now it make you not believe in yourself no more and be like, those voices I hear, I don't know. I keep hearing them, but I can't mention them because people gonna think I'm crazy. So whatever it is, that might not be your exact story, but that might be somebody's. And people have shunned you and shut you out. And they ain't want to listen to me teach. Ain't nobody want to play school with me. So it's like I was playing school with my imaginary friends. But now I have people that actually do want to listen to me and that do actually want to, take my advice and listen to what I got to say. So at one point I thought nobody gonna want to listen to me. Who's gonna want to listen to me? God, why are you calling me? Ain't nobody gonna want to listen to me. But then I had to realize people always been coming to me for advice. People always have been. So obviously they do love what I got to say. They love my sound wisdom. Like they've always been coming to me. And it just came easy to me. Some stuff just come easy to you. And that's how you know if that's what you are called to do. It comes easy to you. Yes, you're going to build upon it, but it comes easy to me to talk. It comes easy to me to express this stuff off my head. It comes easy to just give advice because that's what I've always done, because I want the best of people. And I always see two sides. I'm not just going to be on your side. Just because you're my friend, if your baby daddy right or if your husband right, or I'm going to be like, no, you're the one wrong, sis. Like, I love you and all, but nah, let him stop trying to do that. Let him do this. And, because that's who I am. And that's why people will love me, because I don't just take your side, like, and just bash the other person. No, I see where the other person might be coming from too. And it's like, you being petty right now. Nah, let her still go. You just trying to hold the baby. Nah, let her, all of that and all of that. So I'll see y'all in the next video. I hope y'all got something from this video. Deuces.